Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm gamesplaining Architects of the West Kingdom. The essence of the game is you have a whole bunch of workers. You can put one of those workers on any of the spots and do that thing once. So putting that here once allowed me to gain a coin plus one more coin for each worker there. So that would give me 2 coins to start with. If on my next turn I was to place a second one there, I would gain 3 more coins. I could continue doing that, and that would get me 4 coins, 5 coins, etc. At any point, the other player could place a meeple in the town centre, which would allow him to arrest a group of people. So he's going to pay 1 money, so wherever there's a red marker that's made to the tax stand, wherever there's not red, it's money back to the bank. So he'd pay 1 money, because he's got 1 guy there, to imprison 1 group of guys. So I would probably grab that and put that there. Now, nothing has happened at the moment, but on a future turn, this player could place them there, which would then move them up to the guardhouse, and he would get 4 money in by doing that. What red can do on a future turn is also go to the guardhouse and then release all the guys that have been imprisoned there. That's actually a good thing, because that's how you get your guys back. The other action that would have been available to red if blue hadn't done that is red could go here and pay the money to take all the guys, but he could pay that 1 money to take the guys back onto his own board. In that way, stopping blue from being able to take that group and being able to get more guys back to his own board to use for future turns without having to waste turns going up to the guardhouse to get them. That's the essence of the game. The only spots to watch out for are these 3 down here. Only 1 guy can stand on each of these 3 spots, and that will stay there until the little bags are covered up. That's the black market area, at which point, once that one's covered up, all the guys in the black market come back to their boards, and you're playing until guys have been laid down to here, at which point everyone will get 1 more turn, including the person who placed the last guy there. And we'll talk more about that in a second. Other things to be aware of is the virtue track. So you're going to move up and down this virtue track depending on if you see this marker moves you up, that marker moves you down. By moving down, it can make it cheaper. So if I end up down here, anything that would cost a money to the tax stand would cost 1 less. So if I was there and then on my next turn I went to there, I wouldn't have to pay the 1 to tax. However, if I'm below number 4, I'm not able to build in the cathedral, and I'll get to what building in the cathedral looks like in a moment. On the other hand, moving up this track, once you get to this level, you're not able to use the black market at all. Once you get to the top of that track, if you were to continue upwards, you would be able to get rid of unpaid debt cards. And if you're at the bottom of that track and you were to continue downwards, you would take more debt cards. That's the essence of the game. What does each spot do? I'm glad you asked. The mine, quarry, forest, and silversmith all work relatively similar to each other. So if I put 1 in the mine, I would gain 1 brick plus a brick for every guy I've placed there. And that just goes on your board, that's the next person's turn. If on my next turn I place 2 guys in the mine, I now have the choice of gaining 3 bricks or gaining 1 gold. On my 3rd turn, I can gain the 1 gold again, or I could gain 4 bricks. So 1 brick plus 1 for each guy. The quarry is these markers, they're stone, so it's 1 stone per guy you have in the quarry. The forest work exactly the same with wood, 1 per guy that you've got in the forest. And the silversmith is 1 money plus a money per guy. So that's for 2 money. So 2 money coming in. That one would be worth 3 money coming in. That's the basic ones. If you come to the King's Storehouse, you're choosing one of the actions. So you can either trade in 2 goods, so one of those 3. It can be any combination, could be 2 wood, could be 2 brick, etc. But you're trading in 2 goods to move up this track 1 spot. Or you're trading in 3 goods of stone and wood for 1 marble. Obviously, if you have 2 guys there, you can choose to do 2 different actions or the same action twice. Next up, if we go to the town centre with 1 guy, it will cost 1 money to arrest or claim 1 group of guys. So he might, with his 1 money, go and claim this group up the top, and they come down into this little imprisoned space or captured space. On his next turn, if he goes there with a second guy, he can pay 2 money, so 1 goes to tax, 1 goes to the bank, to capture 2 groups of guys. So he could choose to take all of the blue from there as one of his things, and he could choose to take all the red guys from the forest as his other one. The blue obviously come to that same spot on his board, the red just come back to his board. Now if he were to have 3 there, let's put one of those groups back, he's only allowed to choose from 2 spots. The 2 spot rule, or 2 location rule, is only viable for 2 or 3 players. If you're playing with 4 or 5 players, you must only go to the 1 spot, no matter how many guys you've got in the town centre. You pay the money again, so 1 money to tax and then 1 for each of the other things to the bank. And what's able to happen now is with these 3 people, he could take in those 4 with one of them. He could take those 2 back with another one, and he can take that one in with the third one. Or alternately, he could take these 3 guys back, and the third guy is not used at all. And so you wouldn't actually pay the money for the third one. Once you have guys in here, if you go to the guardhouse, you have a whole bunch of choices at the moment. The first one is to put all of the guys that you have captured into the guardhouse. Now he's put 7 guys over into the guardhouse, so he would actually get 7 money coming in. If he goes there again, he can once again put 1 guy in the guardhouse for 1 more money with one of the guys, and with the second guy, he can then bring anything of his that's in that guardhouse back to his own board. The other options that he has is he could spend 2 money to tax and 3 to the bank, or he could take one of these cards and move down on this track to take his own guys back off someone else's board. Now the reason you would do that is to deny them any income from sending from their board up into that spot. The other thing you can do is if you happen to have one of these cards, you could spend 6 money, so 3 to tax, 3 to the bank, to flip that card over. That immediately pushes you up 1 on this track and won't cost you any points at the end of the game. You have many options. Each of your guys can do one of the options. It doesn't really matter how many times you do stuff. Occasionally there will be a moment in the game, so it's pretty much when the black market is fixed up, that if you have 3 or more guys in the guardhouse, you will lose 1 point on this virtue track. Also, if you have the most guys in the guardhouse, so blue again, you would gain 1 of those cards. Moving on, this spot down here, you've got 2 options on the spot down the bottom. He can go there, he will spend 4 money, so 2 to tax, 2 to the bank, to gain 1 of these cards. Now because he's only got 1 guy down here, he can only gain between 1 of these 2 cards. What they do is different depending on what you get. So if you were to take the gatekeeper, you would immediately lose 1 point on the virtue track. Then whenever we get to that black market point in the guardhouse, he may release, whoever has this, may release 2 workers from the prison. And this one at the bottom works at the king's storehouse, so whenever he would send a guy to the king's storehouse to do this action, he would also be able to trade in 1 coin for 3 bricks. The other option, if he wanted to hire one of the guys further up the chain, is he could put a coin on the first guy, and that would now allow him to get to the second guy. You could keep heading up, to get to the third guy, or you could wait till you got more guys down there. Once you do hire a guy, so say this one was hired, they're placed on the left of your board, all of these move down and the next card is revealed. On a future turn, if he has 2 guys there, he can gain a card plus 1 more card for every 2 he's got there, so he gained 2 cards. You have a hand limit in these cards of 6. What these cards are talking about is stuff that can be built. This is actually the purpose of the game, the architects. So, in order to build this stuff, you would go to the guild hall. When you go to the guild hall, you'll place a guy down to start with, and you'll have 2 choices. You'll either build one of the cards out of your hand, or you'll build the cathedral. To build the cathedral, the first level would cost 1 gold and 1 card, so he would choose one of the cards out of his hand to get rid of, pay the gold, and that pushes him up. Notice there are points next to these, and the number of people that can be on each level is going to reduce. When you do that, you would gain one of these cards, so they'll push you 2 up on the virtue track, for example, and that then gets removed to the box. To go to the next level, he would need to spend 4 of any of these 2 resource, etc. all the way up. Only 1 person can sit in that position. If you're playing more than a 2-player game and there are 2 people there, whoever's on this level can't go to this level until one of those 2 has moved up to the top. The other thing you can do in the guild hall is build one of the cards in your hand. To build one of the cards in your hand, first up, you're looking for an apprentice that matches whatever's in the top left corner. Because this player only has the tiling apprentice, this is the card that needs the tiling apprentice, but this card also needs the other 2 types of apprentice. He doesn't have either of these, so the only one he can build is this one. It doesn't have any apprentices in it at all. What he's going to need to spend is 2 wood and 4 stone. So there's the 2 wood and 4 stone. Once that has been paid back to the bank, that is now built. The bottom of the card has either an end game scoring, so this is going to give him points for every one of the hammer guys that he has over here, so it's worthwhile going to this many times and getting a whole bunch of hammer guys to get a whole bunch of points. Or some of the cards have a little lightning bolt. Anything with a lightning bolt is immediate, so he would, if this one was the one that was built, he would immediately gain one of those cards. And when he does that, he can gain any of the cards. He doesn't have to worry about the number of players thing that I was talking about earlier. Okay, there's 2 more spots to go to. This one, if he goes to the tax stand, he would gain all of the money that is currently in the tax stand, but he would also lose 2 spots on that virtue track. And then there is the black market. So if he were to go to this spot on the black market, it would cost him 1 coin to the bank and 1 spot on the virtue track to gain these 2 resources. If he were to go here, it would cost him 2 coins to the bank and 1 on the virtue track to either gain one of the cards, doesn't matter which one, or to pick up 5 of these cards but keep 1 of them. And if he were to go to this spot in the black market, it would cost him 3 coins and 1 on the virtue track to gain everything there. When the prison is reset, that card then gets flipped over, which shows a different level of stuff that can be gained by going to the larger spot. I think that I have covered everything in this game. As I say before, we keep playing until this is full. If you're playing a 3-player game, obviously you're going to go up to where it says +3, 4-player, 5-player. So you go along the top line, laying guys down as you build stuff. Once you have completed 1 line, we then start on the next line, and that will continue. So once this one is full, that is the end of the game. Everyone will get 1 more turn to see if they can get as many points as possible, and then add up all of your points. Please go ahead and watch my gameplay to get a real good feel for how this game actually plays. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you would like to be Gamesplained, please shoot me an email at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at thegamesplainer to keep up to date with the games that I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.